not a student anymore. I'm just a working mom juggling family, work, and everything in between. Not because I have to, but because I promised myself this time I'm not going to give up. If you're new here, I'm Rachelle, mais français. I'm a polyglot who grew up speaking 4 languages and later added Japanese and French for pleasure. If you're a francophile or a French learner like me, this channel is for you because I share honest reflection about language learning and mindset. Years ago, I spent 1 term in Toulouse as an exchange student. By that time, I barely spoke French even I lived there. I only had 1 basic beginner level French lesson in school. And by the time when I went back to Hong Kong, I almost forgot everything. But that experience planted a small seed in my heart that I didn't really realize it until I picked up French again. That's my love for the language and my love for the French culture. And years later, here in England, that seed has grown into a quiet commitment that made me determined to pick up French again until I finally mastered it. During the time I've been picking up French again, there were many moments I wanted to quit. Between work meetings, deadlines, and exhaustion, I look at my French notes and think, what's the point? You know, passing the whole working day, by the time I finally sit down on my bed, I'm already drained. Some nights I opened my textbook, trying to do some homework, practicing some tenses and grammars, and I fall asleep. Other day I skipped my online French lesson completely because suddenly there was a client call and an urgent proposal that I need to work on it, and then I felt really guilty about it. There was also a time I pushed too hard. I'll stay up late to study, get cranky the next morning, and then blame myself for not being consistent. That's when I realized I was treating French as another job, not a joy. Sometimes I wonder if I will ever sound fluent or if I started too late. But then I remind myself, I'm not learning to impress anyone. I'm learning to keep a promise I made to myself years ago. Like somehow, this language keeps calling me back every time I nearly want to give up. And that's why I wanted to make this video to show you how I've learned to keep French alive in my everyday life without losing my sanity or burning out. My days usually start early. Breakfast, school run, work. And by the time I sit down again, the day's already half gone. A few years ago, I would have told you there's no time for language learning. But I've learned that French doesn't need a perfect schedule. It just needs to fit inside real life. So instead of chasing long study blocks, I look for micro moments. 5 minutes in the car, 10 minutes while cooking, or a few minutes during my son's bedtime reading. That's how French sneaks into my day, not in perfect study sessions, but in little windows of presence. Here's what my French actually looks like in a typical week. Not perfect, not aesthetic, but it works. Every week I have a 1-hour French lesson online. It keeps me accountable, but I don't beat myself up. If I forget vocabulary, I just show up, speak, and laugh at my mistakes. And this is my morning French moment. Instead of checking my phone, I listen to a short French podcast while making breakfast. It's my mental warm-up before the day really begins. Sometimes I read French labels in the supermarket or label things around the house like frigo, poté, chassé. It sounds simple, but it keeps the language alive in my environment. At night, when we read together, I add a page or 2 from a French storybook. It's not about teaching my son French, it's about sharing what I love. I used to think language learning means discipline. Now I think it means intimacy, bringing a language into your everyday moments. In the past, I burned out easily. I thought if I wasn't studying 2 hours a day, I was failing. But burnout kills joy, and without joy, language doesn't stick. Now I measure success differently. Did I touch French today? Even for 5 minutes? Did I enjoy it? And that's enough. As a mom, I remind my son that learning should be fun. And then I remind myself the same thing. Some days it feels like my French isn't improving at all. But then I catch myself understanding a line in a movie or ordering coffee in French without thinking. And I realized progress is happening quietly. The truth is, I'm not chasing fluency fast. I'm building it slowly with love, and it lasts. If you are a busy parent or even just a busy person learning a language, please don't give up just because life feels so full. You don't need more time, you just need a gentler way. Even 5 minutes of joy counts more than an hour of pressure. And if you like to see how I actually improved my French speaking while living here in England, I share all the honest, practical things that helped me in that video right here. How I improved my French speaking while while living here in England. It's the perfect next step after this one. Thank you for watching. This is Rachelle, mais en français.